During the darkest years of World War II, families across Europe and beyond faced unimaginable scarcity. Daily survival depended not just on ration cards, but on ingenuity, stealth, and a deep knowledge of the land around them. Some families hid entire gardens in plain sight, turning neglected corners, forests, and even their own homes into lifelines. If you're a history enthusiast or a survivalist at heart, this exploration of forgotten World War II food sources is essential. Make sure to subscribe to After the Sirens and comment below with which of these methods surprises you most. This is knowledge that connects us directly to the resilience of those who lived through the war, and it could even inspire practical applications today. Families did not have the luxury of sprawling fields. Hidden food sources were often tucked into the smallest spaces, behind barns, under floorboards, or in dense patches of forest. Potatoes, for example, were one of the most reliable crops. Many families dug small, concealed potato pits, often covered with hay or earth, to protect them from both animals and occupying soldiers. These pits allowed potatoes to be stored underground for months, providing a constant supply through harsh winters. Today, similar techniques can be applied in survival gardening. Even a small backyard can host a buried cache of root vegetables, extending their shelf life without refrigeration. Another overlooked source was wild greens. Families learned to identify edible leaves and shoots growing in hedgerows and meadows, including dandelion, sorrel, and nettles. These were not only nutritious, but often overlooked by authorities, making them an invaluable supplement. In modern practice, urban foragers can study these same plants. Hedgerows, park edges, and even unkempt yards can yield leafy greens rich in vitamins and minerals. Collecting responsibly and washing thoroughly mirrors the careful attention families had to pay under the wartime spotlight. Mushrooms were, another hidden treasure, though far more dangerous to collect. Families developed intricate knowledge of local fungi, carefully distinguishing between edible varieties and deadly imposters. The effort was certainly worth it. Mushrooms provided essential protein and could be dried for long-term storage. Today, this practice reminds us of the importance of careful identification and preservation. Learning from historical methods, survivalists often dry mushrooms in paper bags or low-heat ovens to keep a supply ready through lean seasons. Legumes and climbing plants were often hidden along fences and walls. Beans, peas, and runner beans were tucked into narrow spaces, trained to climb discreetly where they wouldn't, draw attention. These plants were not only high in protein, but also replenished the soil with nitrogen, which was a critical factor when land was limited and chemical fertilizers were scarce. A practical takeaway is the modern use of vertical gardening. Even a small balcony can support climbing beans, echoing those wartime techniques while providing a rich, renewable food source. Some families grew unconventional crops in hidden containers. Buckets, barrels, and even old bathtubs became makeshift gardens for radishes, carrots, and herbs. These were placed behind sheds, under staircases, or in attic spaces to avoid detection. This method of container gardening offers, a direct lesson for urban survivalists today. One can replicate this approach in tight city spaces, ensuring a hidden but productive food source that is easy to maintain and rotate. Fruit-bearing plants were often camouflaged within ornamental gardens. Currants, gooseberries, and even small apple trees were planted among flowers or shrubs, blending seamlessly with decorative landscaping. This not only provided fruit, but also maintained appearances that would not alert inspectors or occupying soldiers. For the modern enthusiast, mixing edible plants with ornamentals creates a sustainable and visually pleasing garden, maximizing both nutrition and discretion. Lastly, families often turn to overlooked or, weedy plants as emergency staples. Jerusalem artichokes, wild onions and chicory were common in abandoned lots or along field edges. While not exactly glamorous, these plants were calorie-dense and could be stored or cooked in a variety of ways. Today, understanding these overlooked plants really expands the survivalist toolkit, enabling foraging even in urban environments. With careful study of soil and sunlight requirements, these hardy plants can form the backbone of a concealed or emergency garden. The ingenuity displayed by families during the Second World War teaches us that survival often depends on creativity, observation, and the willingness to adapt. By studying these forgotten food sources, modern gardeners and survivalists can replicate these strategies in ways that are both practical and historically informed. From concealed potato pits to edible ornamentals, every hidden crop tells a story of resilience, ingenuity, and hope. Throughout history, resilience and ingenuity have shaped the way people endure hardship, adapt to change, and ultimately thrive. The lessons learned from these strategies remind us that resourcefulness and determination are timeless virtues, as relevant today as they were during the darkest days of war. If you found this guide valuable, do make sure to subscribe to After the Sirens and comment on which of these hidden food sources you find most fascinating. Sharing this video helps preserve the lessons of history and ensures that these ingenious survival techniques remain part of our collective knowledge.